As we come to the conclusion of the 120 days period of consultation that began on April 17, 2021, I come to you again from the Secretariat of NINAS with this special broadcast addressing specific constituencies in our populace, stakeholder groups, specific, segments of society that are responsible for the things that are happening and things that should happen, but who don't seem to have connected with what is going on. We're in a situation of life and death, of being invaded by an alien force, by the Fulani who have decided to wipe out the owners of Nigeria, the indigenous owners of Nigeria, and become the new owners, having imposed a constitution that make other people, every other person slaves, that have disarmed everybody else from being able to defend themselves, that have seized the economic assets of everybody, and that generally, just worse than apartheid. And so, in this series of specific address to segments of society, the first segment that is in fact the most urgent will be the political parties at this time. All of what we have been talking about, the constitution that is the source of all the miseries, including the killings going on, including the mass poverty, including the general insecurity and the hopelessness in the land. The political parties are at the center. That constitution could have been laid to rest if the political parties in Nigeria, without exception, PDP, APC, ABGA, Young People's Party, all the political parties in Nigeria subscribe to that constitution. And they go to election every 4 years to renew the life of that constitution. And so, in the face of the sovereignty dispute, of the union dispute that was raised in December of 2020 by the Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination, the political parties seem to have been particularly interested in keeping things the way they are. And they're carrying on as if the people they claim to represent, the people they claim to be leading, do not matter in all things. They are now in connivance with that enemy that is killing the people and ruining their lives. So political parties, this address is for you, particularly the PDP and the APC. The 1999 Constitution is a fraud that has rendered all of us slaves in our land, that has rendered us vulnerable to being killed in the manner we're being killed. And so we have the owners of Nigeria, as we see in this map, the indigenous nationalities across the south and the middle belt, have repudiated that constitution, and in order to demonstrate the rejection of that constitution, that they will not go to any further elections under that constitution. And so, since it is only political parties that contest election, we saw it coming from the Supreme Court in Amechi's case, only political parties contest those elections that renew the life of the constitution. There's no other way the life of the constitution is renewed. And so, whoever is going to win any election, including the one of 2023 general elections, will have to swear to defend and uphold that constitution. So either way, whether the PDP wins or the APC wins, all of the things that are happening to us now on account of that fraudulent constitution, on account of that constitution of death, will continue to happen. And so the political parties have become the Judas goat in the circumstance. What's the meaning of Judas goat? Judas goat is that goat specially trained to lead other goats to slaughter. Normally when you want to take goats or cattle to slaughter, there's that reluctance for those who have dealt with abattoirs before. So they train this particular set of animals to lead other animals to slaughter. That is, when they come, because no human being is involved, they commence the movement and others follow them. And they go to slaughter. They never get killed. They always come out tops. They always come out rewarded, because nobody, the aperture operators don't kill them. They are trained for that purpose. Political parties, you have become the Judas goat in this dispute, in this debate. We now invite you specially, Ninas invites you specially, to take a position in the union dispute, in which we are rejecting that constitution as basis of any further national elections. So the choice is now, will you want to be on the side of your people, the ones you claim you want to represent, the ones you claim you want to govern, or you will be on the side of the enemy that wants to, continue the operation of that constitution, to save the life of that constitution. If we take out the life of that constitution, we'll be saving our people. If we continue in the journey to election in 2023 under that constitution, we'll be compromising the lives and future of our people. Therefore, political parties, please, we invite you as at now, we invite you as urgently as you can go to consider. Call a convention. Call whatever meeting you have to call to decide on the matter of where will election under this constitution get us to. It's a good thing that Peter Obi, who had been advertising his skills of governance, wonderful thing he did in Anambra, but he has finally come to the realization that the engine of Nigeria's vehicle is knocked, and that it is not the search for the driver that should precede the search for replacement of that engine, because no driver can you bring that will be able to do better than any previous driver. We have seen it since 1999. We've had the tall driver, we have the short driver, we have the fat driver, we have the slim driver, and the situation is getting progressively worse. And so we say, now that Peter Obi has told the rest of those who were hoping to go and be the better president, or be the one that come from one part that is better than the other part, all of those things will come down to swearing to defend a constitution that creates the corruption we're talking about, and defends and protects the beneficiaries in black and white. A constitution that makes it impossible for anybody to do anything in all the things they can do to solve their problems, including defending themselves from invaders who are killing them with arms. And so we invite the political parties, as a matter of urgency. There's no other thing they're going to tell us they're coming to do that can be done outside the constitution by which they will swear to govern. So Ninas is telling everybody being invited by the political parties to ask those political parties, by which constitution are you going to govern? And all those things we say are coming from that constitution. Those parties are subscribing to keeping it that way, so that the people who impose that constitution, who are clinging onto it alone, since others have rejected it by way of formal repudiation, are the ones wanting to save that constitution. They are the ones inviting political parties to come with them to election. We see INEC and Yakub and all the people who are throwing all kinds of things around to lure us, to railroad us towards election. If we go to this election under this constitution, we are only signing our death warrant. Let it be sounded clear. Those who do not understand can come to ask Ninas. Go to the website, make your inquiries. Anybody who is going to further elections under this constitution is saying, let the killings continue, let the impoverishment continue, let the looting continue, because that is what that constitution guarantees. The affluence of the political merchants who turn up to the governors and senators and all kinds of office holders, and at the same time guaranteeing the misery, the killings, and the poverty of the populace. So as they're inviting you, political party, you are the one at the center of this discussion. If you do not agree with the people, if you do not come on the side of the people now, you will be the ones leading them to this slaughter that is sure if this election is going to happen in 2020 under that constitution. We're not talking about boycott here. We're saying that in the third quarter, inside 2021, all of us who reject this constitution must stand up to say we can't proceed to election under it, so we can go to transition and begin to work out what will save the Nigerians that are trapped in this defunct Federation of Nigeria. We have a country, but we no longer have a federation. We saw Bangladesh the other day, talking nonsense about settled issues, about being in union, about unity. Who and who settled such? The political parties must take a decision among themselves, because the populace, the young people are watching. Whoever says is going to do better than the other, let us ask him under which constitution will he do that better. The structure of 36 states will remain. The 7 and 74 local government areas will remain. The 68 items of exclusive list will remain. Everything that has caused this calamity will remain. So let us get it clear. Political parties, we invite you to listen to the people, close shop right away. Let us go and solve this problem. If you insist on going to election, you are compromising the lives of the people you claim you are leading. Ninas would like to talk to the media in Nigeria. If we look back at how we got to independence, we will see that Azikiwe, Awolowo, Enohoro were all coming from, they were journalists, in those days, and they put their skills to use in enlightening the public, the people who had to be liberated. And then it became, they led the fight. They led the fight that became, the liberation for all. And then we saw when the soldiers, seized power from 1966. Again, the media were the center of how, that situation was overcome. We saw what happened June 12th. It was the media at the center telling everybody else what had gone wrong, because that's what they call the fourth estate of the realm. Yes, there are the executive, the legislative, and the judicial arm of government. But media under the legal regime we live in is elevated to that level of because they are the connection really between governance and the people. They are the ones who tell what is going on. And so we will particularly want to invite the media in Nigeria to focus on, some have done well, but others have carried on as if there is an understanding between them and our tormentors to shut out discussions on this important issue of the constitutional arrangements for Nigeria. They're rather focusing on how we get to election, whose turn it is to be president next, deliberately avoiding the discussion of what constitution the winner will use to govern. And so, while thanking those who have identified with the people in focusing on this urgent issue of life and death, we will also be inviting those who have not done so well. In this regard, AIT has done particularly well in making sure that people get to know that these discussions are taking place. Arise TV, I don't know where they stand in the matter. They are particularly being informed and invited to join that debate, to find the courage to join that debate. We are saying that Nigeria has become a fraud under a constitution that is a forgery. That Nigeria is become a union of death under a constitution of apartheid. And so we will just plead with the media, the print, the electronic. The Guardian newspaper has done well. Some of the other newspapers, where are the other newspapers? Where are the other TV houses? Where are the other radio stations? We can't be discussing how, all kinds of things that do not address the burning issues of the moment and trying to be politically correct. People are being killed. So media, please, Ninas is inviting you. Come and interrogate the proclamation of December 16, 2020, which is a proposition for how to resolve this Nigerian quagmire that is consuming so much lives, in terms of lives. So please, on behalf of the Secretariat of Ninas, we will be waiting for what you begin to do differently. We can't proceed to the election in 2023. You can't be talking about which party will do better than the other when the constitution by which that party will govern will lead to calamity for everybody else. Let us just realize we are in an extraordinary situation, in an extraordinary emergency, and the media cannot be found wanting in that setting. They are the ones that should lead the charge in telling everybody the options that have been placed on the table. We can't be concealing those options while pursuing things that don't lead to anywhere. the lawyers in the land. Again, if we had an epidemic like Ebola came before, like COVID-19 comes now, doctors and pharmacists will be leading the charge. The lawyers in Nigeria, NINAS is inviting you particularly because you are the ones who should be explaining constitution to other people. But the bars, Nigerian Bar Association, the senior advocates, the professors of law, all of those who, the human rights lawyers, the NINAS is calling you now to come to join this discussion. The constitution is the source of the death that is visiting the people. The constitution is the source of the misery that is consuming the people. The constitution is the reason young people can't find anything to do, because without electricity, there's no industry to employ them. Why don't they have electricity? Constitution, 68 items on exclusive list. Where do we have insecurity coming from? The same constitution. Where do we have the misery and the hopelessness pervading the corruption we're all shouting? Where is it coming from? That constitution. So the lawyers in the land should be at the forefront of explaining to other people, because it is something flowing from constitution. Every other thing you are doing is a pretense around the matter. Some of us are interested in political, in the kind of thing that happened after election under a constitution that ensures this kind of outcome we have seen repeatedly. You want to go to tribunal to be the one to pass money to judge that will give a ruling in favor of, and then corruption, EFCC comes, oh, come and save the one who has looted 40 billion and 30 billion, you get paid. Is this all that lawyers are about in Nigeria? The lawyers should be in the forefront of saying that this constitution is the reason our society is collapsing. In the same vein, we are going to be also inviting the civil society organizations, the NGOs. Oh, Society for Fighting of Corruption, Society for Curing Mental, all kinds of associations of, there are thousands and thousands of NGOs. What, between turning off the tap and mopping, what will you prefer? We have placed a plan on the table that is able to extinguish the source of the problems you are doing activism around. Whether it is corruption you have gathered to fight, or child education you've gathered to promote, or poverty you've gathered to alleviate in some way of going to buy a wheelbarrow for people to go and push. No, we are saying on this occasion, the source of all those problems, you want to raise money to go and help people in IDP camps. All those things are very good. But you have a particular responsibility. If there is a proposition that can extinguish the source of these miseries that you are trying to attend to, we're inviting you to come now with your exposure, with your capacity to understand. NGO organizing people towards electoral reform, towards a free and fair election. No, it is not election that will solve this problem that is upon us now. It is to take down the constitution and go to transition and work out new constitutional arrangements that can take care of the people. So don't tell us you are going to be mopping at the time there is a need to turn off the tap. Come join to turn off the tap. NGOs. The same way the labor movement, the NINAS is telling the labor movement that all the efforts to get things working better for yourself, if you do not think about the rest of the society, how many of us are in that kind of in the labor movement in terms of compared with the rest of the population? If we have 200 million people, how many civil servants do we have? How many people are in all those? Every time you go to agitate for new wage, yes. A laborer should earn his wage, but that wage will go to a marketplace. If the reason your money will not buy you the same amount of money by the time the naira was introduced in 1970, I clearly remember, by the time the naira was introduced in 1973 or so, the naira was $4 to 1 naira. There was a coin, a 25 kobo coin that was minted at the time, called dollar. Progressively, this same naira had been battered by the soldiers who seized power and all the people that collaborated with them, progressively to where suddenly it was now almost 1 naira to $1, and then it became $5, 5 naira to $1, and progressively we are now at 500 naira to dollar. Therefore, if the labor movement, the electricity you need to make your life better, the infrastructure you need to make your life better, and the life of the other people, if you focus only on asking for salary, the day they increase fuel, you go and do demonstration. Oh, fuel, bring back fuel price. No, the refineries are locked down by that constitution so that you can see how it connects with you. The refineries that should have been processing our crude, we have 3 million barrels of crude oil we sell. We can't take the 10% of it that we can process and provide employment to a larger number of people. You sit back and allow them under this constitution that locks down everything to sell crude oil, and then the refineries that fall under the exclusive management of the federal government are not functioning. The 4 refineries are down, and now they have to buy all the products from outside. And then we hear about subsidy regime and all of that. Corruption has grown into a monster in that sector alone. Therefore, the little sum of money you get paid don't take you anywhere, because the prices of the basic things, whether it is food or electricity or petrol or all the other things you have to pay for, even the security, you have to make all kinds of arrangements. So your salary doesn't take you anywhere. Even if it's multiplied by 10, it still does not send your child to a good school. So those things that are responsible for that situation in that society in which you constantly go to agitate for what is added to you, why can't some of that energy look at South Africa and see who is leading the charge for what will happen in their society? Because the labor leaders also realize that they have the power of collective bargain that can be applied to address the source of the problems that have been consuming them and the rest of society. Therefore, NINAS is inviting the labor movement, whether it's the civil servants, or the ones involved in textile, all kinds of segments and sectors of labor movement, trade union, what's their names again? We invite all of you who are involved in labor movement to come and take a position in this debate about the source of this problem that is consuming everybody, that is making your salaries look miserable and unworthy, not able to take you home. They call take home pay. Let us turn off the source of those problems, the source of that misery you live in. Let us see that the rest of society will also somebody has to stand in looking for how to solve the problem of the rest of society. It's not only labor, but labor has that bargaining, that capacity to come together. The rest of society and just lying here and there, they can't organize at that level. So let labor bring that power of organizing to come to extinguish the source of the trouble. Let us turn off the tap. This constitution is the reason your situation is the way it is. If you allow it to stay, if you allow them to proceed to election under it, you are signing your death warrant. You are signing to go from poverty to death. NINAS invites you to please put aside all of what you had done before. Let us combine our efforts and go and turn off the source of this problem that has been chasing the society around. In the same vein, we'll be inviting all the other people of faith, whether they be of the Muslim faith or traditional African religion, all of those who believe there's an omnipotent and almighty God. These things are happening, and there's no other discussion more important than joining the discussion of how to end the killing of those who are of that faith with you, of those whom you have responsibility over. So please join this discussion on the status of the Nigerian Federation, the disputed Union of Federation of Union of Nigeria under the 1999 Constitution. The church have been invited, the mosques have been invited, the clergymen or clerics of all faiths have been invited, and so including the traditional believers, those who call on Ifa, those who do Amadioha, all of you, please. The people are dying. You have to join this discussion. There's something that can be done, that is being done. Where's the Catholic Church in this discussion? Where's the Anglican Church in this discussion? Where's the Methodist Church in this discussion? Where are the Pentecostals with all the commotion about church all over this place? These churches is not enough. Silence is not golden. People, the flock is being killed. You are either on the side of how to stop the killings. The evangelicals in the U.S. took their time. When we raised the alarm, they were the ones who took it to government. They took their time to make sure that the U.S. government began to pay attention to what we were saying. Then they were asking us where's the church in Nigeria? We couldn't answer. We came back. We've gone around as much as we can. Where are the churches? What are you saying? People, that your flock is being killed. Any church that does not take a position in this matter is siding with falsehood in a fight against truth. Is siding with darkness in a fight against light. Please and please, there's no postponing it. The situation is urgent. People are being killed. More will happen, especially if we proceed towards election. We're inviting you to interrogate our proposition. We're inviting you to join in saying that we cannot be going to look for PVC to vote in an election in which the Constitution, the winner is going to have to swear and govern by the Constitution that guarantee the miseries and the killings. So the church must take a position on this discussion. Not tomorrow, today. For every day we postpone it, the enemy that want to preserve that Constitution is advertising Party A and Party B, inviting people to any church that will ask people to go and get PVC. Any church that will say, oh, vote so that a better person can come. Let those who are being told, the young people particularly, ask them, by what constitution will the winner govern? A word is enough for the wise. Those who are suffering, those who are being killed, they are listening to all of this. And we cannot hope that they are all being deceived. They've been deceived sufficiently. You cannot go to battle of AK-47 with a PVC that is a plastic. It is foolish. We have seen it since 1999. These elections have happened so many times. Has it changed anything? No. Are we to keep it like that? The answer is no. What are we to do? There's a proposition on the table that is a proclamation by the Nigerian Indigenous and Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination that's been out there since December 16, 2020. Many things have happened under it, and this is now the time for everybody to get engaged in that discussion, the church in particular, because your flock is on the front line of attack in this invasion that is dislodging them from their ancestral spaces.